This post will go down in the history books. Which post is that? It is from Ranny Boo from the Crypto Banter family. Shout out to them. They're friends of the channel. And it was made in December of 2020. And Ranny Boo says, what if there is no Altseason? Dun, dun, dun. Now, when he made that, it was at the bottom of the others BTC ratio. So the others index is just every altcoin outside of the top 10. So we look at how much money is allocated, stored, and market cap in the altcoins outside of the top 10. And what I do is I just put that as a ratio to BTC. I'll divide it by Bitcoin. And I want to see, okay, what is the risky stuff doing versus Bitcoin? That's what I want to see. You can play around with many other ratios, and some people want to include like the top 10 altcoins. I don't want to do them. I want to just say, hey, I have Bitcoin here and the rest of them. Why? It's pretty much because Bitcoin, in my mind, it's not just my mind, statistically, friends, it's the only coin that rallies in a crypto bear market. All right, that is extremely important. It's the only crypto coin that rallies in a bear market. Nothing rallies in a bear market. Yes, we've seen Solana today. Okay, but we saw Chainlink do it in 2020. And now Chainlink's not doing it. I can pretty much guarantee you Solana's not going to be rallying in the next bear market. It's going to be something else. BNB was another winner from 2020 as well, that part. So BNB and Chainlink, they were the two winners. In this cycle, unfortunately, Chainlink drops off, and it is Solana and Injective. Injective Protocol went down. There are a few others as well. Flowkey went up, but I'm talking about these other bigger main ones as well. So you get to see how there's a difference now, friends. Now, this post, right, what if there's no Altseason, all right, made in December 2020 as altcoins were completely missing on the Bitcoin rally action. So I know you should never say, right, this time is different, but there are some different quirks here when you're looking at this comparison. Because Randy Boo says, what if there's no Altseason? And now, today, we have Altcoin Daily, the Twink brothers. Why are they Twinks? Because they block me. That's it. If they don't want to be called Twinks, they just unblock me. The Twink brothers, Altcoin Daily, they have now messaged altcoins are done. Now, whether it's joking or not, yeah, friends, we're all just here to have a good time. We're all friends at the end of the day. We're all on the same team. We're on Team Crypto. But I'm just showing you what's reflected from our hearts. Within our hearts are like, man, I'm done. I hate this. What do I do? Everything's down once again. It's been 3.5 years, bro. 3.5 years. I know, but if we go back to these periods of time, like exactly. So Ran, I love the guy's post. This is amazing. Ran, if you're listening, man, it's the fact that he did this post, I just want Ran to know, because he did that post, friends, it inspired me to look at everything that was going on during that time. I went back to the charts and I'm like, oh, let me go play around with these. And I highlighted this December 2020 because I know empirically what was going on. I knew, okay, Bitcoin was rallying up. It broke 25K. You have Anthony Scaramucci. He was talking in December 2020 back then. He had bought it at $14,000 and it was starting to break up the high. Ivan videos cranking up. Elon Musk started talking about Doge about a month to go after that. So I know exactly where we were in that time period. But right before, I remember Ethereum not being able to catch up. Altcoins not moving. Everyone was doubting everything. And it was Randy Boo's tweet here that just summarized what if there's no Altseason. Now, it's interesting that from this moment of Rand saying there's no Altseason, the entire cycle was done in 140 days from that tweet. So if you like where Altcoin Daily is, if you go forward 140 days, it would be, end of December this year. Now, that is basically the run-up of altcoins. This is the first 50 days. Actually, this is the first, the first 50 days starts after we flip green on the weekly super trend. And the next 50 is the parabolic action. Okay, that's the final explosion. And even though it comes back to the toppy, these are new coins. Okay, these are new coins. So as we know this, 95% of coins topped out in that first one. We don't know if that's going to repeat. Now, there is a difference, as I mentioned to you before, and you probably want to play some Cranky G music, friends, because remember, we're on our Pokemon journey together. I'm wearing a Squirtle hat for you. Okay? You have to train a bit harder, friends, if you're playing in that Fire City, right? So you remember that. Now, look, when we're looking at this, the altcoins being weak against Bitcoin, Now, it's because the whole market's weak. Back then, it was because Bitcoin was strong. That's the difference. Even in 2016, even in the years 2016, this is the Bitcoin halvening. This vertical line is the Bitcoin halvening, friends. You see the post-halvening crash. It's where we are right now. Now, this burst up was Ethereum rallying up as Bitcoin broke the all-time high. So this is 2017 starts. You get to see that, right? So you actually want to see when did mania literally start. If you want to go to the Bitcoin halvening, you actually check it out. It's literally around... Ethereum started breaking the high around January, February, but by March, pretty much a lot of things had gone. That's 231 days. Well, that's when like a crypto market-wide type of movement here. And if you go to the Bitcoin halvening of last cycle, it was around 250 days. Things were like, okay, February was like, okay, Doge, Elon Musk, excitement time, GME, okay? So you have 230 days and 250 days. Now, if you go to our Bitcoin halvening, I've just put the vertical line here. Our Bitcoin halvening, where is 230 days? Just to let you know, that is December of this year. Interesting. Interesting. So if you measure how much time after the Bitcoin halvening did it start to like, okay, when did the mania start? It's December, right? So this is the thing, friends. If it starts a mania in December this year, what would starting the mania be? You see this red weekly super trend right now? So if we eventually go back up and then we somehow, let's say we're breaking it in November, December. Okay, now it's flipped green here. This is where this April 2025 mark comes to, because that would be around 100 days-ish to April 2025, which would be 1 year after the Bitcoin halvening. So do you remember, friends, you're saying, hey, what happened to mid-August? Yeah. Mid-August, friends. Of course, it's still potentially on of when you start to go up. All I did was I matched how long in the past did it take when you flipped red to then turn green? How long? And using Rand's post, Rand was like the vertical point, which is like interesting. Like we're looking at it now. Like, so we have another, obviously, big influencer in the crypto sphere. You have them tweeting like altcoins are done as well. So we can do that. We literally can do that. But you're understanding that we're moving along, even though it feels like everybody's been ready to give up. And like, well, obviously, we're so far away from any sell points that you don't really need to worry about anything except we're just like praying for recovery at this point. Also, shout out to Mr. Blockomoco. He's asked, did you move the ghost fractal? No, I didn't. The ghost fractals are still there. They're actually still there. That's why if we come back and zoom in, you can see they are still here exactly right. It's possible. I know we need an emphatic victory, but I've got to repeat again, Bitcoin is going down now, sending us down. So that's why I think if we make it through this, we will make it through this. When we make it through this, everyone is going to realize at the end, they're going to realize that they should have been looking at my chart. Because what everybody's doing is they're looking at this Frankenstein Bitcoin dominance and like, okay, Bitcoin goes up, dominance goes this or that, they'll do that. But they're muffling it up because the top 10 coins in crypto, they're not nice to basically include in the whole index. It screws things up because they're bleeding stuff out. They're pretty much bleeding store of value things, and it's very hard to measure things. So I like others versus BTC. And I think this is going to give a cleaner reading. And it would be poetic justice, really, because we held through this point even though the markets weren't going up. So in 2016 and 2020, you know, this period, friends, Bitcoin was like shooting through the highs. And I've just put the Bitcoin price chart now so you can see that. So Bitcoin has like shot up through the highs. It's at $30,000 right now. See this orange part? You can see Bitcoin moving through those highs. You can actually show it here. So Bitcoin starts cracking up through the highs right up here. See, and you can see this red. You can actually see this red part. See, altcoins can't move up. And now I'm going to track the orange line with Bitcoins going up and up and up and up. And then altcoins start moving. So you can actually see during these periods of time, you're basically watching a dove fly very, very high. Right? And actually, this happened as well if you go back further in time to that previous cycle too. You come here and look at this. This is Bitcoin at $800. And then Bitcoin goes 1,000 and then 1,500, 1,800. Bitcoin hits 2,800. And that's in Ethereum and everything starts peaking out up here. So they start going wild. They're watching Bitcoin fly 500, 600, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500, 1,800, 2,000. You see that? Everyone's watching that. This time is actually different, right? It's actually something different is happening right now where we have cheap altcoins because of everything going down. Like we're cursed. But I think, look, friends, it's very possible that, you know, Michael Saylor's growth rates for the crypto industry, they're very bullish. Sorry, his growth rates for Bitcoin is very bullish. I think the scenario we're going to get is we get good growth rates, but they don't all go to Bitcoin. I think the industry grows that much. I don't think Bitcoin grows that much. I don't think so. I hope it keeps going, but it lowers over time. I just don't think Bitcoin is able to continuously outperform these altcoins as a whole sector over time, because they're peeling away from it, man. They're peeling away. Because do you even know what you're holding in Bitcoin? You know, friends, people consider Bitcoin still in their mind this special use case thing, and it is because it rallies in a bear market. But it's a layer 1 chain. It's a layer 1 chain without smart contracts, and they're adding it really, really, really slow. When you think about it like that, you're like, oh, it actually is, yeah. That's pretty much like, what can you do in it, right? Now, obviously, we know it has a Bitcoin ETF and all these other numbers go up and all these other great things going for it. But when you start to get new people in, they're not captivated by that Bitcoin narrative as much, right? Not some of them are, but not all of them. And that's what goes and bleeds in. I mean, like, how do I know this? We're already seeing this in crypto today. People aren't captivated by Richard Hart streams. Well, there are none. They're not captivated by CZ. They're not captivated by Vitalik. New people aren't. No, they're not. What are they captivated by? They like this Solana stuff. They like this 15-second TikTok generation, celebrity coin, switching back and forth, trading, and then losing. They really do like. They like that. Keep this. I don't know who's going to win at the end, but they do like that. I know you don't relate to it. I'm not telling you to relate to it. I don't relate to it personally on a personal level. Of course not. But you're smoking rocks if you think that doesn't happen. Of course they all relate to it. That's why they love Solana. What Solana let them do? Lets them do 15 trades in 4 seconds. 75% of them get cancelled, but they don't care. They like this shebang and, we've got celebrities and stuff in. Okay, so we're witnessing these things already happening, but it's just going to keep bleeding out into the cause. So in a nutshell, what we might find is that others BTC friends, remember this is what's that number on the right? 0.163. That means altcoins outside of the top 10, they are only 16.3% of Bitcoin size. And if we go back in history, they at one point used to be only 1 to 2%. This is 2, well, exactly now I'm on 2.2%. Then they were like, when Randy made his tweet, they were at 8%. Now that Altcoin Daily have made their tweet, it's at 16%. Have you noticed something? They're growing up. 8 and 16. Maybe, friends, the next time it does this, right? Maybe we don't double again. Maybe it does something like this. Maybe the next bear market floor is like higher. Okay, maybe we get up, shoots up, has this thing, and then we come back down here. But the floor is getting higher. The floor is getting higher. And if you really want to know, friends, what does this actually, what does this mean? How we can trade off it, okay? Because you and I, we don't want to trade off it because that others index, if you go look at everything in the top 100, you don't want to touch them. Do you want Athena? No. Do you want Litecoin? No. Do you want high FDV, VC tech coins? No, you don't. There's a lot of coins you don't want to touch. Do you want to own EOS? No. Okay. Obviously, one of them is going to make a recovery at some point, but most of them you don't want to own. You don't want to own. So you don't actually want to own the index. But if you could own the index, which is safe, it's a safe bet, right? If you did own the index from today, let's say you bought it from today, you allocated 1 Bitcoin into it. Okay, or you can allocate any amount and actually got up to here and then you sold the index, you would have 3.3 Bitcoin. So you'd put in 1 Bitcoin and then you get 3.3 Bitcoin back if you sold them back to Bitcoin at this point up here, what I did right now. That's actually a terrible return. That's the whole industry diminishing, because look what it used to do, friends. What it used to do was 1 Bitcoin turned into 8.7 here. And if you kept holding, look at this, 1 Bitcoin turned into 14 Bitcoin. So 14 Bitcoin here. In this one, when Rand made his tweet, you turned it into 5.5 Bitcoin. What are you going to turn it into here? Maybe it's going to be 2 or 3. You see how we're diminishing? We are diminishing. Basically, the outside top 10 coins, they're grabbing more pieces of the pie from Bitcoin. That's what's happening in a nutshell. So if you look at this, friends, if you look at this, I need you to now focus on something. Remember, yeah, Bitcoin's going $1 million one day. Just believe in it. Okay, whether you believe it or not, just you got to believe in it. So if your goal is to try, obviously, accumulate more Bitcoin or at least retain your value. So even if you don't believe Bitcoin's going $1 million, friends, as well, remember, it's the only coin that rallies in a bear market. So you want a bigger stash, don't you? Because you go, oh, okay, if a bear market comes, at least I want the coin that actually rallies in it. That's rallied in every time, okay? By the way, Ethereum is going to be in its 4th cycle next cycle, and probably it's going to do better than what it's done this cycle. So that's just something to think about. So you could put Bitcoin and Ethereum in that same camp, but get a slice of both. But you're thinking about the ratio now. We don't care about the US dollar price, okay? So when we get here, let's say we got up here, friends, because remember, you and I, we're small. We're a drop in the bucket. We're nothing. We're a drop in the ocean. No one's going to be listening to me. No one's even going to be listening to you. No one's even going to... We're going to be like basically drowned out by the noise. If we see a scenario where, let's say, the 4-year cycle repeats again, and, you know, somewhere in this box, others BTCs up here, right? We will know at that point, altcoins, the risky altcoins, they are now expensive against Bitcoin, historically. They're now expensive. They've gone into price discovery and they're now expensive. Okay? So we don't even need to know the US dollar price. You don't need to know at all. Another way to put this is whether Bitcoin is 80,000, 180 or 280,000, doesn't matter what it is, friends. If you're seeing ratios this high, you're being told by the market, most coins are expensive versus Bitcoin. Okay, most coins are. Now, of course, you're hoping you got the unicorn, but I mean, good luck, right? 5 out of 100 chance. It's interesting to think about this, okay? Because now I'm already preparing for like we don't even need to know Bitcoin's USD price. You don't. Isn't that great? You know, let's use an extreme example. An extreme example, friends, would be if we are here, okay? If we're here and we got up to here, but Bitcoin's price stayed the same. So Bitcoin, you know, it's around, you know, 50, 54, 5, 56K-ish. Okay, let's just say 55. Imagine a world where, so you know it's unlikely this happens, but this is what you're playing for, right? So you would exit if Bitcoin stayed at 55 for like 4 months and altcoins versus BTC shot up to here, right? And Bitcoin stayed there. Now, how high would this price be? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these relative metrics. I'm going to go back to our top in around March. And I remember like, you remember PulseChain, Chainlink, all their prices. So you just, whatever your portfolio had in March, okay? Whatever your portfolio was in March, it would be another around the double. Around the double here. 2 to 2.5x around there. Now, this is... You can't just say it is a double because, right? Another way to think about it is whatever you got this distance from last year to the top of March, so the last year bottom to the top of March, okay, that's going to accelerate again. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to guess from your portfolio, where would you have to sell even if Bitcoin is 55K today? That's what I'm basically doing. So, you know, what a nice example is we can use PulseChain. And what I'm going to do is just show you from June, July. So let's just say from the PulseChain bottom, okay, what it ended up doing, you know, around June, July, August, so July here. What it ends up doing is around to our March, the top, it rallies a 5x. Okay, so you remember that number, 5. In that distance, it does a 5. What I'm going to go back and show is since you rally, see this June, July period, this period here, this was basically PulseChain rallying a 5. That's crazy, right? So your percentage, you went from 17% to around 25%. And now what I've done now, friends, is you'll see something on the screen up here. What I did was I got, you know, these distance, how much PulseChain rallied. What I've done is I just did a vertical arrow of the percentage and then I line them up. I go 1, 2, 3 more, okay? 3 more arrows here to get roughly around the top. Now, friends, I'm not sure if you see, this is cool estimation, right? I'm not sure if what we're meant to do is to do, remember PulseChain did a 5 here. It did a 5 here. Are we meant to then do another 5 and then another 5 and then another 5? Does that mean PulseChain goes 125x from that bottom? Does that mean that? That's possible, right? Because what we can do is you can actually go check it and that'll tell you, whoa, you're probably very, very expensive. So if you're going back here, right, a third, that's from, that's only a third of the PulseChain sacrifice price. So let's say go down to the bottom. Let's do like 125x to the top. Where would it actually bring us? It would bring you 40x day one sack. Okay, 40x day one sacky. So obviously I've used a nice, isn't it great to just do those multiples? But I hope you understand what I've done. What I've done is I saw how much we rallied in that first part, and then I assumed that it rallied again in the next part. It is not necessarily a correct assumption though, because it didn't work for DeFi season stuff in 2020. However, that was the main narrative. PulseChain was not the main narrative next year. So another way to look at that is if you go to Solana and Dog with Hat, and then you try to say, oh, if altcoins rally again, you're going to do a linear multiple again. You're going to go up the same amount. Like, for example, Solana, right, did like a, let's say did a 20x. If you think in the next move up, Solana does another 20, okay, and then another 20, statistically, that never happened. Okay, statistically, you're going to get it wrong. The one where you get more of an accurate representation is when you weren't the main focus of the narrative. So, yeah, as we went and explored that, looking at these others BTC, it's really interesting, right? That's why you looking at these different perspective, friends. The ratios are very, very, very important. They are, because people only get trapped by linear round numbers. Their expectation of that round number, USD numbers. It's really, really hard to predict tops and stuff like that consistently, yeah? They're the traps. So what I've just shown you is to think about the markets in another way that tells you, oh, I don't need to pick the exact top, right? I don't need to pick the exact top. I can just look at all those top 100 altcoins, right? If they start to get to an expensive zone, it indicates to me, on average, they are pretty much at selling points, right? Selling points versus Bitcoin. But then again, you might say, well, it could be they're cheap. But, even if we got there, friends, that's why I said no one's going to believe me, or you even, because I'll say, okay, now it's Bitcoin, its turn to run up and rally. Okay, so no one will ever believe that they're all expensive, because that's what happened pretty much here. That's what happened in 2021. Whereas if you go back in the cycle before, even though we went back down, Bitcoin went back up. You see, the thing to do, this went back down because Bitcoin was rallying. Others BTC went down. Bitcoin went from 3K, it hit 20K. It did another 6X. Unfortunately, everyone expected that in 2021. We didn't get that. Unfortunately, we just got pooped. Bitcoin dropped with everything. All right, that's why I always say, like, if you're taking profit, statistically, based off the history, 50% Bitcoin, 50% USD, you can't go wrong there, okay? So playing with these numbers and things are going to go at different amounts. There are a lot of things we can gather from that others BTC just to show you the rotation of super risk on. And that's why when people are saying it's over, no, it's not over. Why? Because this is risk off. You can't get more safe historically than this. Buying when everyone says it's risk off. You can't get better than that. Factually, statistically, can't get better than that. The time to feel the danger is, these points, these points. That's the time to actually feel the danger. So I have these just like fractals of the past. We don't have to do a double wave, the sell everything box. It doesn't have to be there, friends. It could literally, theoretically, it could be anywhere like that, man. It could be anywhere like that at some point. I'm just going to leave. Maybe I'll have to extend this out here just to see it and just show it. But really, it's always outside of our control. But you're ready, right? So, people, when they think about, I'm going to exit crypto, you're thinking differently with me now. I'm thinking differently. I'm not thinking, if Bitcoin hits $150,000, I'm definitely getting out. Yeah, that's a good. I hope everyone's right when it comes to that. I hope they do. But think about this: if Bitcoin's 150,000 and Ethereum is 3,000, are you getting out of crypto? Ask yourself that. I'm not. So what am I effectively telling you? I'm effectively telling you that this others BTC ratio has crashed down here to like terrible, terrible, terrible prices. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. No, I'm not getting out there. That's actually time to buy. Right? That's 150,000 Bitcoin, which is like you've tripled Bitcoin and Ethereum's not moving. That's not the time to exit for me because I'm looking at the ratio. Probably, I'm like obviously using the others as a reflection of Ethereum, right? Now I'll throw you something else. What about if Bitcoin is $80,000? If Bitcoin's $80,000, what's everyone going to say? Never getting out, never getting out. Okay, right, but if Bitcoin's 80,000, but Ethereum is 8,000, right? We might have, you see, you don't know what it's going to be, but what if the others BTC actually looks like this? What if it's actually up there? We actually change it to green so we can see this. What if it's actually up here? Right? Now you're thinking differently. What's everyone in the market going to be saying? Everyone's going to be saying, I'm not getting out, Bitcoin's at 100K. And we'll be saying, look, man, relative to Bitcoin, the risky curve part of crypto, they are expensive. All right, does that now either means, like I said, everything dumps down together or Bitcoin goes and shoots up? That will be a topic for discussion if it actually happens. Right now, obviously, that hasn't happened because crypto's gone the other way. Right, we've all gone down. So these types of stuff, friends, it's helping us navigate what is actually cheap and what is actually expensive because everyone's got their own idea, moving averages, guessing, everyone's throwing everything out. And what you'll actually find is the secret sauce to investors out there is they try everything and then their personality eventually matches up with basically a good rhythm for finding cheap and finding expensive. And they keep executing on that. They don't change what cheap is. They don't change what expensive is. That's what you'll find over time. And everybody's different, right? Everyone's different when it comes to that. But I'll tell you right now, the person who guesses waiting for a round number, that's not expensive because the market doesn't care what you and I enter. It doesn't give a crap, right? It doesn't give a shit. Like for example, the market didn't care that you bought Doge at 1/100th of a penny. It didn't matter. You're up 1,000x after 10 years or whatever. Okay, it didn't care. But also on the other side too, the market won't care that you bought Bitcoin at $85,000 and Michael Saylor's got a $49 million target. It doesn't care actually, right? So if it wants to be done, it can. Okay, so I'm being balanced here, just showing you both sides of that. But for now, you can't pick a better time actually to go all in on this ratio. Friends, look, you want to know how cheap it is? It's literally as cheap as February 2021. And if you want to know the ratio again, it's actually as cheap as, look at the last time we were here, June 2017. You want to know something interesting? This is still 70% down on ETH BTC from this point. So if we have come back to the same altcoin others BTC ratio after 8 years, right? Look what's actually happening. What's actually happened in this time period? Altcoins have come and eaten up Ethereum's market cap. Ethereum's down against Bitcoin and they've taken over. Okay, that's actually how we got there. So Ethereum is still down 70% against ETH BTC, but the altcoins top 100, they're back to the same ratio prices, right? They actually all match up the same. So moving forward, that will happen again in the future. It's just too hard to predict. Like you don't know, like are they going to take more from Bitcoin or Ethereum? You don't need to guess that. You don't need to guess that. For now, you have basically these fundamentals, right? You know we're as cheap as you can get. We're hoping it's expensive, and we're basically nowhere near any point of concern. When we get to that point, I guess we'll make more videos about that. But like for now, if you have any spare ammo, you should be throwing it in, and we pray for the best. Like, subscribe, better button, or catch you in the next one.